So I do want to move on to our final topic, which of course is very timely. And, I want to talk about COVID-19, of course, but the economic hardships brought about by COVID-19, the civil unrest as well, which is kind of related to COVID-19, you could argue, perhaps not, but regardless, it's all happening in 2020. I kind of also forgot to mention it's an election year. So this has just been an absolute crazy year of unrest in the United States, in an economic sense, social sense, political sense. And, what we have seen is drones actually kind of rising to the occasion in a lot of ways and actually kind of gaining the trust of the public to a certain extent and at a rate we didn't think would happen, to the point now where you're seeing companies running to apply for Part 135s, wanting to use Part 107 to implement drone deliveries. And that ties to why I'm sitting in a hotel room in Buffalo, by the way. I'm here. My client DroneUp has partnered with Walmart to deliver COVID-19 test kits in Cheektowaga, New York. So I'm going there to support them and help them with some regulatory stuff. So that's why I'm an essential worker. I qualify as one under New York law. But I digress. The point I'm making is that I wouldn't have been doing this 6 months later. COVID-19 has created opportunities for companies and individuals in this industry left and right. And we have seen a lot of success in companies who have, I don't want to say taken advantage, because I think if anyone had it their way, COVID-19 never would have happened. But this has been a silver lining. It has been a way for our industry to kind of jump forward at a rate we were not at before. Adam, let's start with you. Do you see a sense of these factors are kind of working together to actually somewhat improve public perception of drones and maybe drive the industry forward?
Well, I think COVID-19 presents new use cases for additional exposure to drones that the public hasn't had. And so I think many of those cases has the potential to increase public acceptance, but there are some risks as well. There are concerns about, privacy in terms of photography, videography, sensor data. So I think we should also be cognizant of the privacy concerns. One of the things I think COVID-19 has also kind of accelerated is kind of this digital transformation. And I think drones kind of go hand in hand with that as well, because I think there's going to be this real need for data science. And so it's a feedback loop that kind of, we need drones to do certain activities that are contactless, but it's also creating more data where we need more analysis as well. So I think, COVID-19 has kind of really kind of reshaped the field, and I think has offered an opportunity to kind of accelerate the adoption of this technology for new use cases.
Adam, you brought up a great point, and that's if we're worried about drones taking away jobs, you just brought up an instance in which they're actually creating jobs too. They're creating jobs for analysts and for people to handle the data and deal with the data. So I don't know if it's going to be a wash or if it's going to be a net loss or gain, but regardless, even when we become more automated, the need to assess and handle and implement that data will still be there, right?
Absolutely. And, some folks have argued that with automation, that you can automate data analysis. I'm not personally one of those believers, because I think you will always need a human to help program, to help check, and kind of, quality assurance and quality check, the analysis. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, in the data science realm to go hand in hand with drone operations.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, we really run a risk when we rely solely on technology. Yes, this technology is helping us streamline operations. It's perhaps more reliable, but we've all seen plenty of movies where things go wrong when people put all their trust into technology and just completely remove the human component. Let me ask Charles the same question. Now, Charles, we keep going back and forth over this study. I want you to tell us a little bit more about it, because I know I didn't really go into detail, but what the results were of these public agencies, their funding for drone use and how they're implementing drones. How has COVID-19 affected that? This study kind of spoke to that. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I think surprisingly, we were thinking that it was going to have a really negative impact on purchase of drones. And what we found was over a majority of departments plan on buying either two or one and possibly more. And that basically COVID-19 had not negatively affected their impact on their budgets and their operations, which was kind of exciting to see. I will go back to a little bit about what you all were talking about. I think that the drones should be considered as a disruptor. It could be good, it can be bad, but it's definitely a disruptor because we're trying to rethink how we do everything. And on COVID-19, let me just hit a little bit on that. There's some good and bad to what happened in public safety. We really have to be aware, as was mentioned earlier, the privacy issues. And I think we saw from a good aspect, Chula Vista used it to fly out to a homeless community and share with them new resources available, which meant it was contactless, but they got information. So that was good. On the reverse side of that, we had Connecticut, where they were flying and doing measurements of temperatures and coughing and identifying people that could be potentially COVID-19 patients. That was seen as a real invasion of privacy. And so we have to be careful and balance that. And then we saw the use of speakers, where people were told, in some cases, very rudely and abruptly, you're too close, you're not maintaining social distancing. On the other hands, where you had people being courteous saying, hey, this is a reminder, please maintain your distances. It's really in the approach of that. So we have to think about how we're going to implement these technologies. But we're seeing them used to spray large stadiums now. We're starting to see them do a lot of different things to help with COVID-19. And I think what you're going to see next, the whole delivery piece has been exciting, and it has really pushed the FAA along with the delivery companies and public safety to look at this a little bit differently, to figure out how can we use the regulations, how can we modify the regulations to allow some of this to happen. And I think the next big thing on the list is going to be vaccine delivery.
Absolutely. And I've been thinking about that a lot and working, with DroneUp. DroneUp, of course, is delivering test kits right now. But I should add, DroneUp had this Walmart deal, already had this idea before, they retained me to represent them. So this is all DroneUp, but it does go to show, how companies, and you're right, Charles, the FAA are embracing drone deliveries. In a degree they never have before. We saw Amazon's 135 get passed. We see what DroneUp's doing under 107. There are several other 135 applications pending. I know I'm working on a couple right now for a couple other clients. So it's drone delivery is really moving. We really have gotten it moving. COVID-19 has accelerated that, and the FAA has been very supportive while being cognizant of their duty to maintain safe airspace. They also have a congressional duty to safely and efficiently integrate drones into the national airspace. So they balance that duty very well. And I think we're really going to start seeing more and more drone deliveries. What I will say, I want to go back to the Chula Vista and the example you brought up of Connecticut, that this is so important because I find that the idea of what the company Connect was doing, I thought it was personally a great idea. The idea that you could fly over people and tell whether or not they have a fever. Here's the problem. The problem is, and as an attorney, I deal with this every day as an attorney who practices drone law, the privacy factor cannot be overstated. I'm sorry. It is such a huge critical component. It ties directly to public perception. And in that Connecticut example, from what I understand, there was not community engagement or public engagement. And that's going to kill any operation. It is so critical to talk. It's one thing to have the blessing of the FAA, but who are the people who are going to complain? It's the local people, and that's why it's so important before you undertake an operation like this, invite the public to engage, take those drones to stores, to community events, let the public touch them, answer questions, be honest about privacy concerns, let them know this is data we may collect, this is data we may not. I don't know if at the end of the day, anyone would ever be comfortable with the drone taking your temperature, but I do know it would be a lot less, I think, problematic if they at least knew that there was a chance that would happen. Charles, would you agree?
Yeah, and I think the same is true on both public safety and the private sector. We've seen that if we don't do the community engagement, we're not going to succeed. We've seen departments start and have to stop and restart. So we do have a community outreach program. It's a methodology a model that you can use for your own community. We also saw on the private sector side, Wing, a great example of doing its first deliveries in Christiansburg, Virginia, and the outreach they did with the citizens to where they're now looking for more. They're like, how do we get more? And so that's the really important part of this.
And without going into, confidential information, I will say there are clips of people in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, where DroneUp's delivering, who love the fact that they are receiving COVID-19 test kits being delivered. And I think it's important because all entities involved engaged with the community before they did it, so they're not scared when they see a drone flying over and dropping a package. And what better way to maintain social distancing? I mean, true, you can have a mailman put something in a mailbox, but I mean, this is just another way, to be able to maintain social distancing while obtaining this test, which many of us, if we haven't taken one already, will be taking at some point. And then the vaccine component, Charles, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. I don't see a lot of people reporting on it, perhaps because there's not an accepted vaccine right now, but I guarantee that's going to be a huge thing in our industry when that does come to light. So I want to move on now and ask Darshan about this and about the effect you have seen all of this having on how drones are being considered by the public, what that could mean for drone jobs in the future. What are your thoughts on this subject?
Sure. So I took some notes as Adam and Charles spoke, so on the automation bit, let me explain that. Just look general aviation over the years, had a 5-man crew in a cockpit. You had your navigator, your flight engineer, you had 2 pilots, and if I'm not wrong, you also had navigator, flight engineer, missing someone. But there was a 5-man crew at one time, and then slowly the crew started, being taken out, and now it's a 2-man crew. And it's been a 2-man crew for quite some time, even though flying a manned aircraft is, how many pilots actually fly the aircraft. You can ask airline pilots. They're only flying part, maybe the takeoff and landing. That also now it's fully automated. You have cat landings and stuff. So, but why haven't they taken out 2 pilots or even 1 pilot out of it? Is because of the safety thing. So aviation industry gives you enough lessons learned that when we call drone industry a part of unmanned systems industry, it's just 5 to 6 year old industry, and you're comparing to 100 years of history of aviation. You have to take baby steps towards it. So that was the automation bit. What Charles mentioned about community outreach, that's very important, and Charles did bring up a very great point. And you can see an example of that, North Carolina. North Carolina, you can call it right now like a hub for drone deliveries, because the starting of drone delivery for revenue, drone delivery. I'm not going to say that any state, the other states were not doing drone delivery. Yes, pilot projects, testing, everything's going on. But actual revenue started in North Carolina, and it was done with UPS, Matanet, with Wakeman Hospital. That really, showed that in a state like North Carolina, because of community outreach, we could win big initiatives. And I was part of those initiatives myself and Basil. We were leading those initiatives. And before that, there was a lot of community, negativity around drones. And we were able to change that perception to a point now. You hear companies talk, like you have Zipline, you have Flightrex, you have Volancy, and you have so many other companies that are looking to set up operations in North Carolina because we are drone friendly, but at the same time, our community has been educated about it. We have done the North Carolina Drone Summit. We have done workshops. There's so much. So that's a lesson which other states need to take, is that you don't bring innovation and emerging technologies without actually having a plan, because it can all end up in a big mess. And in the long run, and you mentioned about elections and everything, as governments change, you have leadership change. Every time, if you have to explain the reason why this technology is good, that is going to take a long time for us to, improve as a state. Now, coming to the other points in this thing, answering to your questions, it's historically, we have seen that it requires something bad to happen for something good to start moving forward. And drone delivery this year, you heard so many good things happening. No one in this panel will disagree that last year the same companies couldn't do it better, or the year before they couldn't do it better. But why this year is only because this year there was an opportunity. The opportunity was a sad opportunity. COVID has taken so many lives. It has made people realize that technology, are we talking about public perception now, public, community outreach? How much of that is really being done? I don't think so. We are doing any community outreach in a real way because we ourselves are, keeping social distance. But we are trusting that people accept this technology, understand the value of it. So it takes something bad for something good to happen. And the companies that have been for years telling we are ready with drone delivery, we're ready with this, we're ready with that, are seeing the opportunities. So COVID has created opportunities, but the sad part is it's also taken away jobs also. Now, when I tell about that, you explained about how a mailman could come and drop that thing. Now you're taking that mailman out of the picture, or you're taking that person who used to do the medical drone delivery for the hospital that barely had a job because of first because of the technology, and now because of COVID. You're telling that, okay, you don't need to come to work because we have drones that are doing contactless delivery. So your food delivery, drones doing food delivery, getting into that space. Already Uber killed the drone, the food delivery side of people who have worked for pizza joints and mom pops type of stores and stuff. Their jobs are gone because now Uber took that jobs away. You have Lyft, Uber, and all where you can get packages done. Now you have drone delivery that's going to further take away those opportunities. So I had written a small article and I posted LinkedIn, and Drone Life also posted about this drone delivery and how there's a race going on. But in that race, we are missing out on key elements that jobs are going to go. Earlier, we were telling people that this technology is not going to take your jobs. This technology is a tool. This technology is a tool that's going to be in your belt to help you enhance your operation. But now it's actually taking away jobs. So this is where we need to rush with the technology. Yes, absolutely, companies need to rush, but also there has to be education provided. And that comes to my last point, is a lack of education still. States that were doing educational initiatives like state workshops, state conferences have canceled because of COVID. And they have left. Yeah. And, so you're leaving those because of COVID. Yes, the budget and everything, is important. But at the same time, you're leaving your, folks within your state high and dry without that education they need to get ready for the new jobs that are there. And for the industry that's out there. Because this year you tell, okay, we are taking a break from education, next year we'll come back. That is not a right way of putting this together. So, there is that plus and minus. We are seeing technologies showing its capabilities, but we are seeing that, the education lacking still. So overall, I think it's very important that moving forward, we don't know how long this is. I have heard 2022. It might be right after 2022 things will start adjusting. And if 2020 is being this bad, 2021 may be even worse with the job market scene. So education still has to continue, and that's where I feel there's a lot the states have to still do. And next year they have to plan better. I heard people telling me early on that let's wait for things to get better before we start things. And I'm like, there's no waiting now.
No, you're absolutely right, Darshan. And you brought up a good point, and one that kind of counters what I was going to say, because I was going to say maybe, the focus of this panel is where are the jobs? Maybe drone deliveries are where the jobs are. But you just brought up some great examples of how drone deliveries may actually take away jobs. So it is going to be a really interesting balance to see how we balance the operation streamlining and accuracy of services, cost reductions, liability lowerings, all that against the fact that people may find themselves needing to find other lines of work. I doubt that's the first time this has happened. But at the same time, it is something that municipalities and states are concerned about. I know that firsthand. You know that firsthand. I also want to add, just real quick before we go to Sevan, I want to add that you brought up the election and the uncertainty. And one thing that I think is important to note is that this is one area where kind of like COVID has kind of helped our industry. Trump and Biden are both fairly pro-drone. They actually are very much, and I know the people who are involved on both sides, the people who would be dealing with drone matters. And these are two administrations that favor implementing this technology in America, keeping America a leader when it comes to aviation. So I guess if there's one thing I could say, it kind of, although there are a million things you can concern yourselves with about this election, this is one area where I kind of feel like the drone industry is going to be okay. And I felt like it's important to say that because you do see a lot of anxiety brought about by other matters. But Sevan, I definitely want to get your perspective on this as well. How has this tragic year, I guess you could say, how do you think it's impacted the ability of drones to provide jobs?
Yeah, I think from one perspective, we have seen states obviously are suffering all the budgets. You're in New York. New York has a huge budget gap from all the economic losses and lack of tax revenue. So we've seen some budgets getting cut at the state level and funding being shifted. But at the same time, just like a lot of companies that didn't like their people working from home, and now they did it because they had to and they realized it worked really well. A lot of companies now are trying to take that risk when they look at drones and new disruptive technologies to say, well, we're in this dire situation. Let's take a risk. Let's use these novel technologies for these novel use cases. So I think we are seeing a lot of clients, both on the commercial and the government side, that were reluctant before. Now they're looking at this technology and being more willing to take more risks when it comes to drone technology. So I guess it's been a mixed bag from that sense. Yes, a lot of budget cuts, economic challenges, but we are seeing companies and clients being very proactive when it comes to similar technologies and drones.
Great. Thanks, Sevan.